Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About Meh, the continuing journey of my midlife crisis, where we talk about anything and anything that I am interested about at the moment, stuff going on in my life. It's extremely self-indulgent. Why am I so interested? I'm not. Straight to the drinking. Yeah, so today we're just going to talk about a long overdue video. I want to talk about my wrestling group's latest show that happened at the time of recording this a month ago, which is not when I wanted to do this. I wanted to have a little bit more fresh in my mind so I could go over some of the stories and some of the things that happened. I was supposed to do it after we had review night, but I've had no time. Time is an absolute commodity at the moment. Just with everything, with home life, my son, and just getting stuff done. Just the time to sit down in front of the camera has been extremely difficult. So let's go. Let's just dive straight into it. We'll do the socials first. If you want to send me a message, you can email me on official@letstalkaboutmeh@gmail.com. If you want to follow just some of the posts and things I do, social media malarkey, I am on Instagram at LetsTalkAboutMeh1. I'm also now, with great shame, on TikTok at LetsTalkAboutMeh6. I have to admit, see, from a posting standpoint, TikTok's pretty good. TikTok's got some good editing tools on there, and I have to admit the auto cut thing is really handy when you just want to add a bit of pizzazz to your posts. But follow me on there if you want to keep up to date with my boring life. Who do you think you are, Dave? Why do you think you're so special? Come and follow me. Come follow what I'm doing. So let's get into it. So the first thing about Combat League Wrestling, Press Play was the name of the song. So for the last year, or since we did the reboot, since we rebooted from doing the house system, we've gone for a slight theme with our posters. And the theme was like video gamey because it was like a big reset. So the first show was called Reloaded, and our new group logo is slightly pixelated. So again, done by Bear Hug Designs. Go give them a shout. They do good work, good fun. Actually, that's a good point. Actually, what I would say was Bear Hug Designs have a good fun vibe to what they put out. It's a really nice, fun thing. I've never really have to give too much of like what I want. As I said before, they do all the wrestling posters for us. They do like matchup graphics and that as well. But they've done the Let's Talk About Meh graphic as well. Just for quick reference, I'm going to show the cups again. This is like coming like a star and roll. This is what a midlife crisis looks like. Go give them a shout. Good stuff, good money. Good money? Good. They give you good money? No, good prices. I'm fucked. I'm so tired, and I've had a day. Today has been a day. Oh man, today's been a day. Right. Yeah, so they do the logos, and we went for video game theme. So I said to my wife when we were organizing the show, and she had to message Bear Hug Designs, and I was like, let's. This is the name of the show. This is the matchups. These are the graphics, so on and so forth. Business as usual, and then the posters arrive. Well, the graphic arrives later, and we were short on time because it was a rush getting into this show. There was a lot of stress leading into this one. And I was like, that's not the name of the show. She's like, yes, you said press play. I said press start. Oh, no, press play. I was like, press play is not a video game. Press start is a video game. But then Bear Hug Designs came up with obviously because they took what the information they had with press play, and instead of like full on video game vibe to it, it was like a VHS vibe, and the poster had almost like a red and bluey 3D effect. And initially, when you looked at it, it was like, my eyes. But then when you put them out and about, they were quite striking, so that it had to catch your eye. So, yeah, it worked out for the best. But that was one of the many sort of like hiccups leading into the show. Lead up to the show was tough. It's always tough when you're coming out of the big end of year show in November, and then you intend to have the Christmas break, and you intend to chill out, and you intend to relax, and that's just never how it goes. But yeah, so we did the Christmas. We were exhausted from that, and then straight into it. The postering was brutal because we had a wild freeze. So me, Susan, and don't think the wee man was with us. No, we did it before school pickup. That was it. So, and we've done that for 12 years. Come this May, 12 years. We've always posted Thursday, always done it. And we do it for every show. And it's either a nice experience where we go get a takeaway coffee and we enjoy our time and company together, and make a bit of a time of it, or it's just an absolute slog because it's an awful weather. This time it was in freezing temperatures, but strangely it was really nice because the river was completely frozen over, and although we couldn't feel our hands and the fingers were numb, it was actually a good one. I like cold weather in the sense of like I like how the crispness of it. Like my ideal weather is thick, heavy snow on the ground, and that thick, heavy snow just falling, not blowing down with a gale or blizzards, just when it falls silently. That's my jam, and I think it's a tism thing with me because snow dampens environmental sound, so I pick that up a lot more, and it's just calmer. It's just like a nice, calm silence, and I like the cleanliness of the white. I prefer warmer climate temperatures as I get older. But yeah, I like snow. I just got a thing about snow, proper snow. So yeah, we did that with freezing postering, and it was stressful leading into it because the ticket sales were slow. Man, they were slow. Going from fast sellouts to a slow drip like that, and it happens. It happens all the time, and I never take it as a reflection on the quality of what the group's putting out, because we're so far north that we're the only game in town, and the quality of what we do is a unique identity. I mean, we're established of 12 years. We've been doing it here now. And our audience knows what they get. I mean, we've gone through at least three to four cycles, if not five, of like generations of, you see, like, kids come in, they peter off, and then the next lot come in, and then the next families come in, and then they hit high school, peter off, and might come back. And I've never taken it that what we put out is of poor quality. It's never, ever been poor quality. I mean, have we had some shaky matches over the years? Absolutely. Have I been in some of them? Absolutely. But as a whole, I always feel that we put on a good evening of entertainment, and we've always done that for our community. We've always had that at the forefront. It's never been, let's have a mess about. It's always been, we need to do a good show for these families because they're paying the money. That's what we're there to do. We're there to entertain for the evening. And ticket sales were really slow because, again, I have mentioned this in the last couple of episodes I've done of this. It's fucking rough out there. It's hella rough right now. It's really depressing. Yeah, money, and more money. Things are always going up, overworked or underpaid. It's a depressing thing. And I don't say it lightly. It's a depressing thing. I've actually gotten to the point where I'm trying to avoid news on like news feeds and stuff. because just it's a constant wave of, oh wow, how can the general public get shafted today? Um, yeah, it's miserable. It's absolutely miserable. So I completely understand why the ticket sales were slow. Um, Originally leading into, so for roughly about 10 years, January, we've always had a multi-man match like a rumble or something, usually a rumble. And there wasn't one booked this time, and the sales were so slow that I went into a bit of a panic, and I kind of like had to speak with the booker and everything. I was like, we need to add something. We need a bit more panache. And yeah, we ended up inserting a battle royal into it at the end, and I feel that worked. Not, I actually, once it was done, I felt like it wasn't just for the sake of making a marketing ploy. It added a lot more to the show. Added a bit of chaos at the end. I don't know if there's one thing for people that know me personally in wrestling. I don't. The older I get, I do things traditionally. The older I get, I'm falling in line more and more now. I see the light. I see the sensibility of it. But I always pride myself on adding something that's slightly against the norm. Um, Shenanigans. That's kind of become the unofficial tagline around me with this stuff. Like, oh, Dave, what shenanigans are you going to do for this one? What headache are you going to give me today? So yeah, we added shenanigans to get to the battle royal, and I felt like that really elevated the show. But yeah, the ticket sales were really so scary slow. Um, to the point where I wasn't 100% sure we were going to go ahead with the show. It was that sketchy. But the numbers picked up towards the end. Now, admittedly, I have a target number that keeps things safe. We didn't hit the target number. It wasn't by any means a bad number, but if we don't have that many bodies in, it's not good. And that's only the second time in 12 years that it's never hit the target. It's a set number, but it's the second time in 12 years. And I kind of have this unofficial thing in my head that if it does it 3 times, I'm going to stop. So we've got 2 strikes. I'll hit the third and I probably won't stop. But I will say this: the crowd that night didn't notice the drop under the number. Not at all. Wow, that was an insanely loud crowd, and the energy was something else. The energy was something else. The energy was a little bit tired by the time that I got out in the main, but they'd been screaming their hearts out all night. Like, wow. I was just blown away. I just remember the show starting, and I went off, which I'll mention in a minute, but I went off, came back, and I was like, did like a load of people just come in or something? Nope, it's the same ones. I was like, wowzers. Wowzers. So yeah, thank you to my community for that amount of energy, and that's what I love. I love that they turn up to these shows and the energy they bring, the 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 absolute, the more energy they bring, the more that we'll give. It's just the way it always works. It's always working at wrestling. The more you get from your audience, the more that you're willing to give in your performance. It really does help drive it. It's almost like a symbiotic relationship. Yeah, the other scary thing was on the week in the lead up to the show. There's all this announcements that this massive storm was coming, and it was looking bad. And the imports were due up on the Friday night. Yeah, there was no way it was going to happen. The weather hit the whole area in Glasgow, and the videos that I was seeing on social media, like roofs being ripped off, flats losing balconies. What a storm! And then I was like, oh man, and we're due to get it Friday night, Saturday morning. I was like, oh, all kinds of things was going through my head. Obviously, the safety of the drive. I mean, there's no way I would expect anyone to make that drive in that kind of weather. And I was like, is it going to stop on the Saturday? And then we move all the equipment, so like the ring breaks down, and we use a large box fan, and that's not going to go anywhere through our Caithness roads if there's massive like winds like that. I mean, the thing would just flip. And then you think, oh, is the venue going to be okay? Is my house going to be okay? Just stuff like that. And after all that worrying, the bloody storm didn't even hit Caithness. Didn't come near. There was no worse wind than what we normally get. It was a gentle breeze compared to most things. I couldn't believe it. I mean, thankfully, it didn't hit us, but I mean, I was like strapping my bins down. I was getting prepped and like a doomsday prepper. And nothing. So thankfully the imports made it up on the Saturday. But yeah, that was just like another absolute added stress into it. And then on top of leading into this show, which is, I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record with it, but obviously my hip injury is still there. It's still not gone. And I'm so frightened before a performance that it's going to go, because I cannot explain to you the pain. It's so bad. And then the fact that I can't walk with it. Thankfully, it did not go at this show, but thankfully it is slowly getting better. But last year, 2024 sucked. Like personally, like mentally, physically, emotionally, it sucked for me. And the pain that I was in on a daily basis because of the hip. But then I have so many other little niggling injuries that are getting better. But yeah, the hip was just the culmination of it. I was just so tired of being sore. So I have this like really, really bad fear that it's going to go. And I'm still cautious in the ring, which I should be. But then in turn, when I watch my matches back at the moment, I'm not running right. I've always had a funny run. I've always had a weird run. It's just me. I don't know why. I don't think I've got much mobility in my lower back. So it kind of like, it's a bit of a weird little uncomfortable waddle with short steps. But it's worse than ever because I'm being cautious of my hip. So I'm being a bit hard on myself with that. I'm watching my footage back and I'm like, oh, look at that run, man. Oh, you look like a toffee apple on two twigs. But yeah, it's just mentally going into shows. I always have this like little drop now because I've got a fear that it's going to go again. And then on top of that, my health's not been very good this 2024. My health just declined as well. Like I'm always either ill, I'm always feeling crap. A lot of it again is due to my autism. I have autistic stomach, so like my digestion is really bad. I have like pain all the time. I get lethargy really bad, and it's just I could have like one day I'm like, yeah, full of energy, which was yesterday, by the way. I was full of energy. I was enjoying the day, and I've woken up today and I can barely move. I had to do the school run, and it took me about half an hour extra to get home. I had to actually stop at certain points, and then I get home, and there's been some stresses as I've walked in the door. And then I was just kind of like, I'm not recording today. I can't do this. I can't do this. And then now I'm doing it. So I was like, pull on your big boy pants and get on with it. Because I've put this video off for so long. But yeah, the injury side. And so I'm also now deciding as well to, like, I've never really been too bad with my health diet-wise, but I'm sorting that out. So much so that I'm not actually drinking coffee. I have had coffee. I've had my morning coffee, but now I'm drinking water, which is really, really depressing me. But, you know, Dave's on a diet. Because I gotta lose a couple of pounds. I'm by no means massive, but I don't really like feel good about my performance in the ring and that. And I feel I have put a little bit of weight back on from a couple of years ago, but I've always had wild weight spikes. When I was 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, maybe 9, I was on like a lot of steroids and that because I had really bad asthma. And then I had like wild skin conditions, which again, steroid creams. So my weight was like insane. And then on top of that, I lived in extremely rural areas for a while. So it was literally like, you know, like 3 houses in the middle of nowhere, nothing there. So it was like sit in my room and play N64 for entire days. And man, did my weight rocket then. I couldn't fit in trousers. I had to always wear joggies and stuff. Oh, depresses me thinking about it. And then I lost all the weight and I was a super slim Jim, and then moved in with Susan for the first time. It's a natural thing. It happens. You start nesting because there's two of you in the house now. And when the two of you have not lived with other people, you tend to eat a lot. You tend to just sort of like, oh, we're adults now. We can do whatever we want. Let's just eat everything. And I remember as well, it's a very, very clear and vivid memory. And Susan is exactly the same. We remember this. We would just eat crap. Like every night for a snack, it was like a cheese sandwich, and then it was sweets, and then it was something else, then it was something else. And oh man, I was huge. I got really big again. And then I lost all the weight again recently, and then I've not put it all back on by no means, but it's gone a little bit up, and I'm not comfortable with it. And especially with the hip injury, I feel that extra bit slow me down in the ring. So yeah, we're on the diet, and hopefully I can get a bit of stone and a half off. Here's hoping. Yeah, so back to the show. Sorry, coming off topic and ranting again. It's what I do best, baby. Yeah. Yeah. So the backstage vibe was really good again. Have a nice, pleasant memory, and sometimes I know some of them watch these videos, so sometimes now I'm a little bit dubious of sharing things on here because I don't want to be too nice about them. I want the young ones to stay in line. There's no discipline without fear. But no, it was really good. I was really, really. There was a moment when I left to get some food. Corin now, my son, he now spends the whole day with me on wrestling days because he wants to come out and he wants to see how the ring's loaded. And then he hangs it with me all day as I'm trying to do all this. And he's really good. He's never been in the way. He keeps himself occupied. But he feels like part of the team, which he is part of the team. But yeah, he's been an absolute. He's so nice when he's there. But then we went to go get food, and then we came back, and there was just this. All of them, especially the younger ones, had just sitting at a table eating and just chilling out, hanging out, and I don't know why, but I was very proud to see that, and it's just a nice thing for me. Like I'm getting old, and I've been doing this for 12 years, and then when you see that the wrestling facilitates moments like that, like just couple, they were just enjoying themselves and they were looking forward to the show and everything. And I was like, that makes me have moments where I'm like, yes, I want to keep it going. I want to keep doing it. And then they ruined it because they turned around to me and they wanted to show me something on a phone, and I can't remember. I'm not going to do it justice, right? But they were like, Dave, have you heard of one of these before? And it was, what was it? It's like Ginster? No, because that's the bloody pasties and that. Was it? Okay, it was basically it was disgusting, is what it was. It was Monster mixed with Guinness, and it was a photo of it. And they were like, "Oh, it's not bad." I was like, "Who the fuck would drink this?" Like it was neon green with Guinness. Now I'm not a Guinness drinker, anyway. I've never been a Guinness drinker. I think it tastes like dream water personally, but hey, power to you. But yeah, I was just like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "That's enough internet today. That is enough internet for everybody today." But yeah, we were sitting there talking, and I sat and had lunch with them and everything. It was just nice, just chill. The our referee, one of the referees, Jenny, who's been with us for about 2 years now. She's about to make her debut soon, so that's going to be fun. And Jenny was, somebody that was again similar to like a lot of the young ones coming. Was very quiet, very kind of like within. And yeah, Jenny can give me some sass now. Like she gives me some lip, which is how I like it because it's me usually giving it out. And we've got a running joke with Jenny, which I absolutely love. It's called assert dominance, because in training one day, Liam was on all fours, and we were going over like um holds and grapples and certain techniques and everything. Then I just shouted, Jenny, assert dominance. And she literally like belly flopped onto his back, just wrapped her arm around his neck. But it's the way she just went, huh! So yeah, we always tell Jenny now to assert dominance. Um, yeah, and then we were at the table or something, and I gave some sass, and then we were talking about something, and I was like, assert dominance, Jenny, and she just turned around and she was like, do you know what, Dave? Do you know what? Fuck you. I was like, yes, give it to me, both barrels. But it's great. It was good fun, and it was on a really, really relaxed vibe before the show. Maybe I was a little bit too relaxed. One thing I will say before I go any further, because I'm going to just briefly, quickly go over some of the matches and that, because a lot of it's gone. A lot of what I felt in the moment and everything, it's gone. I left this video far too long. But one thing I will say is, I'm going to give mention to Scoops, because Scoops was obviously he's a newer announcer for the group. I think he's been doing it maybe about a year now. And Brian Dodds was with us for many, many years. And Dodds was a great announcer and added his own sort of style and flavour to it. And Scoops took over, was very nervous. But where Scoops is now in his performance to where he was prior is night and day. He's getting better and better with every show. He's more confident in what he's doing. And he's kind of like, Scoops is like a character as well. Hence why, he's got, like, we see him at shows, he's got a flat cap and the long jacket, and it looks like a dishevelled journalist. And he's really just become his own thing. And he's really, really coming into his own style of announcing and presenting. And he had a segment at the end of the night, which I'll get to, and he was an integral part of it. But I wouldn't feel right not going forward, not just mentioning straight away that Scoops is just up there. I'm really, really happy where he is, and he should be happy with himself, with how well he's performing. But he needs to stop going to the toilet mid-match. Stop going to the toilet mid-match. Crush your legs. Yeah, so the first match of the night was The Remnant versus Darren J. Blair. The Remnant is Liam, my trainee, who's had a switch up. Obviously, he was Cypher. If you go to the shows now, you know he was Cypher, and now he's the Remnant. He's one of the Archie boys, as Dunbar calls my little group the Archie boys, and it's now just stuck. Yeah, and he's coming on leaps and bounds. His in-ring performance is getting better every time. Liam has had like so many little setbacks. He's had injuries. He's had a health condition which kept him out of training for maybe like 6 to 8 months, and was looking at the prospect of years of not doing it. He's had to go through all that, and he's just knocking it out of the park. He's tried the gimmick character he had, which was Cypher. It didn't gel, didn't work, didn't click. And now he's got to go into this new thing, the Remnant, and every show there's something being added to it. He's taking on board criticism, he's taking on board the feedback, and it's just snowballing into something now. And it was a really, really good match. It was we had Darren J. Blair back up. Darren used to be with us when it was the Houses. He was with us for a season and a half maybe. And it was great to see Darren back up. It was a really good match. The funny thing is though that the Remnant wears a mask, and I didn't catch this on review night, so I'm going to say it now, just to his absolute embarrassment. I actually only noticed as I was watching the matches back to refresh my memory for this, that when he came through the curtain, his head got stuck on the curtain. And when you have little things like that, if you could just shrug it off and not worry about it, the rest of the match is fine. But yeah, that tickled me. But yeah, it was a good match, good solid. It was a push in performance for Liam, and Darren did well with him. It was a good match. There's a super kick that happens near the end of that match. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I think Liam's head was knocked into next week. I think my dog's barking. Yes, my dog is barking. Wow. Well, gonna have to give a quick pause here. Check what he's up to. And movie magic. We're back in the room. Back in the room. Let's see, where were we? Sorry. I'm all windswept now. The dog needed out to the toilet, and it's windy out there. Okay. And he's in the room with me now, so you might hear him. You be good, Miles. You be good. Where was I? Super kick, Liam. Wowzers. Yeah. So there's a super kick near the end of the match. Darren didn't just super kick him. He super kicked him. Decided to atomize his foot and put it right through Liam's head. It was a thing of beauty. Absolute thing of beauty. Liam ended up with a mark on his face from it. So just one of the things. Just went slightly too into the zone, but it looked fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And Liam was fine, just a wee scuff on the face, but it certainly looked impressive. Overall, good performance from both of them. I was really pleased. That's pretty much what you're going to hear from every match. It's going to be, I'm going to sound like a broken record. The next one I was really looking forward to, and I anticipated greatly, was Jackdaw, the Jackdaw, debuting against Glenn Dunbar. Now, obviously, if you've watched my podcasts, which you should go watch the podcast, like, subscribe, share. I didn't do that at the start. I didn't do it. I knew there was something wrong. I might do it at the end. So yeah, it was the Jackdaw debuting against Glenn Dunbar, and Richard Johns is the trainee who I spoke to in the prior podcast before he made his debut, and explained how he was in good hands with Mr. Dunbar, and sure enough, he was in good hands with Mr. Dunbar. Great debut. Nothing's ever perfect. Nobody ever has a perfect match, especially in your debut. But as far as debuts go, couldn't ask for a better one. The Jackdaw certainly connected with the crowd. I had no idea what was coming with the character, but I get it now. I get the character, especially after having a wee chat with the Jackdaw. The entrance, I made a point of watching the entrance. That blew me away. It was so 90s wrestler. It was amazing. It was great. The look and the image works so well. And the funny thing is that I had spoken to Richard, and we were discussing techniques for his entrance, and I said, well, you're going to have to jump up in the corner to keep the crowd up. And in the back of my mind, and it's just that, I didn't set it up for failure, but in the back of my mind, see people that don't jump up onto the middle rope a lot, or haven't practiced it, or just haven't got it in their repertoire, they slip. They do. It's a weird thing. Just in 12 years of doing this, it happens. I've done it myself. And sure enough, when the Jackdaw was coming out, it was, entrance was going, crowd's going crazy, and he jumped up on the corner to get his big moment, and he slipped. And didn't let it bother him too much. Just got on with it, laughed it off, and the crowd stayed with him. And that's something that's really important, is don't let little things like that bother you. Never let little things like that bother you. And I was watching it in the back of the monitor, and I said it out loud. I said, that's the best thing that could happen to him. It's the best thing that could happen to him, because if you've already had that wee slip up at the start, you're not going to worry so much about your performance. You're not going to worry about messing up too much, because something's already happened. The crowd haven't suddenly stood up, walked out, and en masse going, no, can't accept that. Wrestler slipped on the rope making his entrance. No, we are leaving, sir. Goodbye. Because that's what goes in our mind. I generally, the amount of nerves, especially people making their debuts, and it doesn't matter what age group you're in. It doesn't matter if you're young, doesn't matter if you're middle aged. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey of wrestling. There seems to be this fear that if you mess up, the crowd is going to turn extremely hostile or walk out, and then that's you. That's never the case. It is never the case. Can it damage your momentum in the long term? Absolutely, because might hold on to that. But I don't think it's never as devastating as a lot of performers think it's going to be. And then as performers, little slip ups like that, we carry them like wounds for so long until we can either do this long enough to accept that things happen, or it's a technique that we've learned to not take things like that so seriously. And I was one of the worst for it. I used to hate having wee slip ups, but now I'm just like, as long as it was something that was my fault and it was something nothing serious, I'm just like, oh, I'll just remember not to do that next time, or haha, laugh it off. I slipped. I've slipped coming into the ring. I've actually fallen between the entranceway and the ring. I've slipped right down. Twice that's happened. Many, many moons ago. No big deal. Just get on with it. We giggle, laugh it off, make it part of your performance. So that happening to Richard at the start, I think, could have been the best thing for him. And he didn't let it shake him. He didn't sort of like over, like a domino effect. Didn't like lead on. The nerves didn't just get worse. It got. I think he took it in stride, and the match was brilliant, as I knew it was going to be. Some nice little sequences, and Dunbar did what Dunbar does. Just good debut, elevated him, showcased what he could do, and I'm sure Richard learned a lot, as you do when you work Mr. Dunbar. As I'm talking about Mr. Dunbar, I received some nice kind comments about it, where they're saying that his performances are hitting some of the best he's had. Dunbar's always been top of his game, always been. Even when he doesn't think he is, he's always on top of his game. And it's nice getting comments like that. And his heel work's always good. He's always a good baddie. You love to hate him. Next up was Brody Adler versus Struan Fraser. A solid match. Absolutely solid. Probably a great showing from both. A good mix of styles is what I mean to say. Like, it's a good matchup where they managed to showcase each of what one could do and how that conflict came together. We all say yes on review night. So Struan is away being educated in university because he's an academic weapon. So he doesn't actually make our review nights, and maybe that's actually for the best, because his head would just inflate. He'd never get back out the door. He's young, he's athletic, and he's good. He is one of these people where he has a natural flair for wrestling. He has a natural talent for it, which annoys the hell out of me. I'm so jealous of it. One of the best sellers I've seen in a long time. His physicality in the ring is so good. His comedy is good. His agility is good. I mean, he's just got. You hear people talk about having the X factor within wrestling, and Struan's got it. Just, I hope he stays humble with it. And I don't think. See, Struan's on the path of which he should be, which is he should be educated and university and whatnot. But Struan's the kind of person that you can see that if he wanted to do this professionally and go down the route of building his body up and then pursuing that dream of being a wrestler, Struan's the sort of person where I'm like, I think he could do it. I genuinely think he could. He just has that natural bit about him, and we hate saying it. We always hate saying it. But it's one thing as well that I probably sound a bit up my own backside here, but I'm happy that Struan's now, as he's down the line, he's training at other schools down the line. and it's great that he's been accepted with open arms, and that he's doing well, and he's getting more opportunities in different areas, and learning different perspectives of wrestling, and learning different techniques, and because he's the sort of one that'll just absorb it like a sponge. And it's just great to see him have more opportunities outside of here, because, as I said, we're the only game in town, and Struan's in a situation where he's being educated down the line, and I'm excited to see what other opportunities he gets, because he's a great character. He really is. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. As I said, I'm really tired. I'm trying to speed through this without being too blah, 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 blah. The Harbinger versus Luke Matthews. Harbinger's best match that Harbinger's ever had, in the sense of it all came together. So Harbinger debuted. He appeared 2 years ago in November, but he's had a year of last year, and he's had time to build and grow and figure out what he's all about, his training, and this just all came together more than I thought it would. Exceeded my expectations in such a good way. Not that I had low expectations, just it was there and then above. Everything about that was just great to see. I was so proud of Steve, who is the Harbinger. Again, also on one of my podcasts. Go check it out. Ding, 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 ding. Steve's just come on so much and has really begun to find his character and the physicality and being tall in wrestling. Everyone seems to think if you're like a big tall person in wrestling that you've got an immediate advantage. You do not. I think it's a disadvantage at points. Visually, yeah, it's great. You're a big tall wrestler, but like the agility is something that needs to be learned more, because I know it's a joke I always made with Steve in it, but I used to call Steve Slinky, because when he did a forward roll, his first half would go and then his legs would follow. He's just so tall. Things like balance was totally different for him. And then on top of that, portraying a monster character, you really need to learn the finesse of, how much is me being a monster and being invincible? How much do I give when I'm getting, how much do I portray that I'm hurt? How do we balance all this? And Steve's done really well with it. Steve is one thing I really respect him for as well, is that he majorly protects his gimmick, and he never protects it in a way where he's been awkward or overly protective of it. He's always open to compromise, but he's got a good idea of what he wants to do with it and what he doesn't want to do with it, and I really respect him for that. But this was a real showcase of what he could do on his character and his work. And Luke Matthews was an absolute tour de force in it as well, and went above and beyond to work with him and really give him that platform, that moment. And it was a really entertaining match. So thank you to Luke Matthews for that, and thank you for the bumpy bumps, because he got thrown about in that, and the finish was good too, and it looked like it sucked to take, but it was such an entertaining moment. So thank you to Luke Matthews for that as well. Overall, I was really, really happy with that. And then we get into the first-ish main event, which was the four-way, which I was in. It was myself, Arkham, against Lad Chapman, Connor Rose, and the current Combat League Wrestling champion, RJ Cash. For my trainees that I know like the back of my hand, good fun. Had fun during the match. Just as I said, just my health and my mindset is just always a bit of a worry. But I will say this, I've got that entrance down. Absolutely got it down. In fact, I'm going to play it now in its entirety just to big up myself. But there is a story I'm going to tell after it. Roll the footage. Right, now that you've seen that, so I'm not going to lie, I was absolutely gassed after that twitch. After all the twitching, which went mental, as I've explained before, it's a natural urge, and I just leaned into it. And that I leaned into it, and I pushed it, and I may have pushed it too far because thankfully there was two more people due to come in because I was sitting in that corner like this. If I had to stand up and do a match straight after that, I would have just gone. I was so exhausted, but I put so much into that entrance. I'm so proud of it. Yeah, the match was good fun. I enjoyed it. A while back, like one thing I'm really proud of is that I can spike a DDT really nicely and safely, which is like basically I spike my head into the floor and my legs go straight, so it looks like I'm being driven into the ground like a spike. The last time that I had to take that move, my hip was probably at its worst, and I didn't make it look good. And I've always carried that with me, like I said, like a wound. And I feel like I redeemed myself that night. But then I took an absolutely god awful rock bottom, so I'm not taking any more rock bottoms. My body just didn't want to take it, and it is due to my hip and my lower back. Just when I jumped and I needed the ball up, it didn't go the way I wanted to. So no more rock bombs. But overall, yeah, I mean, I can't go into it too much because it'll just turn into massive like repetitive praise. But it was a good match. I had fun. Everybody did the job they needed to do, and then that led into the battle royale where chaos broke down, and then I had the most fun of the night where I dropped Jenny on her head. Yeah. I dropped Jenny on her head, and I enjoyed every second of it. And then we had the Battle Royale. So here's a wee secret for folks that go to shows or any wrestling show, any Rumble, any Battle Royale. So you'll be entertained watching the wrestling, watching everybody batter each other, watching them have a good time. What you don't realise is that we're having a great time as well. There is so much going on in that ring where we're winding each other up. Rumbles and Battle Royals are the time, is playtime for us. It really is. We do everything we can to absolutely wind each other up, break each other. And just, there's so many moments that backstage, even for weeks after, we'll be like, oh, we did that thing. Remember this, remember that, remember when I came over and that? And it's because they're not, believe it or not, they're not massively planned. A lot of it is just to see what happens. And yeah, again, just some of the stuff from that. I gave Jack Daw a lovely back massage with my feet at one point. I just stood in his back and went. Got some sly digs into Brody as well. But yeah, it was good fun. Good fun, and it went great. And the showcasing of having our champ RJ Cash beat the entire roster again. Does anybody actually notice that RJ Cash is a Rumble / Battle Royal expert now? That man keeps beating us in Rumbles. I think collectively as a roster, we need to game plan and just team up and throw him out first next time, because man's got a game done. He knows the cheat code. He's got the cheat code. But yeah, that was great fun. It was good. And I'm annoyed at myself because I'm looking at this and I'm at 48 minutes and I'm trying to keep these videos lower, but I just prattle on so much. So thank you to those of you that actually sit and watch the whole video, or at least come back in stages to make the effort, because I don't know why you keep coming back to listen to me prattle. But yeah. So here's the story that I wanted to tell. I made a big rookie mistake. So I went to the venue, obviously, blah, blah, blah. We set everything up, got everything done, and the show starts. And I thought, you know what, I'm only on in the main, so should I get everything ready and painted or not? And I'm like, if I leave it, I'm going to be rushing. So I went and got changed, put my gear on, put my costume on, painted my face up, put my creepy contact lenses in, and I'm standing there, and then I'm watching a good couple of minutes of the first match, and then I went, something's wrong. Something doesn't feel right with me. I'm like, something doesn't feel right on me. What is it? And I'm going to be honest, it was almost like an autism warning. It was like, like something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. And then I went, my jacket. I don't have my ring jacket. I've left it in the house. I was like, oh, no. Oh, do I need the ring jacket? I was like, oh, no, you do need the ring jacket because it makes the spin look better and the flow. And I was like, right. So then I asked for a lift up my house, and I had to sneak out of the venue with my hoodie on, my face painted white, in my full costume with my contacts, hiding in this car. We drive up. On the way up, I also realised that I have forgotten an integral part of my entrance. A rather important part of my entrance. Mm, that fella right there. I forgot the mask. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I'd forgotten that. I was really kicking myself. But thankfully, I remembered everything then, got down. And my point was that when I had left the venue, um, people were just coming in and it was just settling. The match had just started and it was that nice ease in. And yes, you know, we had the slightly lower numbers. It wasn't demoralizing in any way. It was still good numbers and it was a good vibe. And as I said, I was like, oh, well, they might be a little bit quieter tonight because there's less in. I had left, and when I had come back in, I've just walked into that back door, you know, with my hood up, and wow, the immediate electric energy that you could feel coming off that crowd from backstage with the sheer amount of noise. I was like, oh, we're in for a good night. We are in for a good night, and it was a good night. And I'm looking forward to the next show, which is in 4-ish weeks. The next show is Combat League Wrestling Rise. Yeah. Which I'm looking forward to. I'm going to make sure that my health is in a better state in 4 weeks, and hopefully my brain matter will be in a better state as well. So yeah, this has been a bit of a ramble because it's just been a video that I've kind of had to force myself to do. I do have a couple other videos that I want to talk about some stuff. I mentioned last time I do want to do an autism video, but that's going to be heavy, and I don't think a heavy video right now is good for the old brain matter, especially when I feel so constricted with time. I want to do a video on Mad Max. I want to chat about Mad Max because I watched Furiosa the other night. I really liked it, and I've made a point now that I've hunted down the originals on Blu-ray, and I have seen them all, but I haven't seen some of them since I was a nipper. Again, father. But I want to watch all of them again, and then I want to do a video talking about it and just seeing what other people's opinions are like. So yeah, let's do the socials for a head off. The email, official, LetsTalkAboutMeh@gmail.com. Ask me questions, anything. Also, if you're watching these videos, pop a comment. Pop a comment underneath. You know, let's get some rapport going. YouTube, you're on the YouTube. Have a cookie. Let's talk about Meh 1 on Instagram. That's my socials. I put up things from mini painting, just some day-to-day stuff. And TikTok, pretty much the same thing, just with a little bit different. And on TikTok, I am Let's Talk About Meh 6. Right, less of the rambling. I've got things to do around this house. I am tired. Thank you for watching. Hopefully the next video will be a lot better than this one. Peace!